heels of the release of the country's crime statistics yesterday. And the question that comes up is whether these stats should be released more frequently or even quarterly. Well, Dr. Chris De Kock is an independent crime analyst who's written extensively on the subject, and we have him on the line from Cape Town now. Good afternoon, Doctor, and thank you for your time on the PM News Desk.
Good afternoon, and to the listeners.
Doc, escalating rank and file and pay hikes for SABC staff members, will this actually translate into a tangible morale boost? Will rank and money be enough to turn things around at the South African police services?
Well, I think those steps can boost the morale, and if there's higher morale, then that may increase the focus on crime.
Can you just explain your motivation for us for more frequent releases of crime statistics? Now, we know these numbers, these stats were released every 6 months or every quarterly, and it might help in the fight against crime. And this was the case during the time of Sydney Mufamadi.
In the times of Minister Mufamadi, it was released quarterly. Well contextualized reports. It was even given to independent NGOs, research NGOs, to have an insight into them a few days before they were released. But they were quarterly releases, and I think it had at least the effect that the public were more informed, and the public and the NGO sector could play a role in the fight against crime. Given the stats that was released yesterday, I think there's a bit of a crisis when it comes to crime. There's quite a bit of a crisis. And I think it is the right of the public. It's actually the public who provide these stats. When you report a crime to the police, it becomes stats. And so I think the public must have that information more frequently. I would say quarterly. There are some people, I believe the ISS referred to monthly releases. I think in the past there was also a time of monthly releases, but I think that was too frequent. It confuses the issue because monthly is just too frequent.
A crime crisis, Doctor. There are some who would say that you're being unfairly alarmist at this point. It is important, though, that we contextualize these statistics. Crime in South Africa is definitely lower than it was 10 years ago. And of course, we must take note of a multi-billion rand security industry that does stand to benefit from public fear of crime. Your thoughts, Doctor?
Crime over a period of 10 years, taken over a period of 10 years, it may be lower. There are some crimes that are lower. But if you take the last 3 years, the last consecutive 3 years, there were increases, quite significant increases in murder, attempted murder, all your robberies. The robbery that affects most people is your street public robbery, which was not even mentioned yesterday. That is up with nearly 10%. If you take your truck jacking, nearly 30%, and your carjacking, 14%. So actually, for the over the period of 10 years, it is down. But in the last 3 years, we have actually lost a lot of the gains that was made in the previous 7 years. And if we continue at that rate, we may see some general increases over a very long period.
Doctor, very quickly before I let you go, we are running out of time now. The spate of police killings this year, very concerning. But this is not uniquely a South African problem. What should be done, Doctor? Whatever the extent and reasons for the police deaths, we simply have to minimize these tragedies now.
The only way that you can minimize the risk is by even more training. I know there's very good training. I can't blame the police there. But more training, and more training. The police have to be prepared when they go into a situation where there is a shooting or where they go and arrest people. They must always be ready and know how to act in that circumstances.
Dr. Chris De Kock is an independent crime analyst. Thank you so much for your time on the PM News Desk, on the line to us from Cape Town.